I want to talk about a subject that comes up quite frequently when I talk to transitional pastors and coaches. And this is even being talked about when we think about the challenge of finding pastors for churches. So I would say that the time has come for this conversation. And I just finished reading the book, Tent Making, Multivocational Ministry in Western Society, edited by Watson and Santos. And I thought there were so many good, valuable insights. It's a collection of different people that have had experience in multivocational ministry. What exactly is it? Now, when we're talking about multivocational ministry, it's a term that would describe having more than one activity that makes up the work that you do. And it's a way to move away from terms like bivocational, which is often meant two vocations, one where you make money and one where you're doing ministry. So it's kind of the splitting of those two ideas. And multi-vocational is really this blend, as I see it, a blend of the work that we do helps to create opportunity to be in the world, to be on mission, to be involved in a variety of activities that all together provide the financial streams of income that we need to actually make a living. I have several streams of income, and so I would call myself a multivocational minister. I'm working in the marketplace. I'm working with nonprofits in the community. I'm working with hospice and grief education and grief support. I'm working at the university. I wear that particular hat as an instructor, a teacher. I work with Transitional Leadership Network, overseeing this ministry and giving leadership. I work in my local church as a volunteer at this stage, but I've been on staff and I've been paid to do that work in times past. Kind of leads me to the second question. Why talk about this? Why is this important? One of the reasons that really struck me as I was reading this book and thinking about this is it is such a biblical concept. We all know that Paul was a tent maker, and he used that opportunity not just as a way to make money, but a way to create connection and integrate with other people. It was very much a holistic and an integrated approach to ministry. So I think it's important because it gives us a language and a way to think about how do we actually function as ministers, as pastors, as leaders in a way that actually works in the day and age that we live in. For a transitional leader, so often the struggle is you're looking for that univocational opportunity that pays the bills. But what about the idea of what if you thought more about maybe I could be a multivocational transitional pastor and coach and have a few other things going on that help not just make money, but help me to have opportunity and purpose and connection with people. And I know a lot of times you're working in other locations with in other cities as a transitional pastor, but I think we need to think creatively about how do we actually have a few different things going on that together can really be our calling and the work that we're doing. So here's just a few ideas. Some people maybe serve in a manager role in some respects. An author, landscaper, carpenter, chaplain, prison, hospital, and so on. Coach. There's a whole different variety of different types of coaches, whether it's a church coach or leadership coach. Entrepreneur, you have a business that you run, but you're also able to do ministry, church-focused ministry as well. See, my language needs to be worked on. It's all ministry. We don't want to separate it. That's part of how this helps us. Consultant, teacher, school bus driver, funeral director, truck driver, wedding officiant, spiritual director, ED, farmer, and so on. So here's a quote from one of the authors in this book. One of the writers said this: "As Christendom enters its twilight years, we are now recognizing the practice of tent making. This is far from a problem and far from a sign of decline. It is a return to the normal. It is an opportunity to reharness the very tangible but recently forgotten benefits and opportunities that come with tent making. So instead of thinking that the norm is univocational ministry, and I think this is true for transitional pastors and for pastors in general, what if the norm was multivocational, expanding those options? Well, the third question is, how do you and I respond? I think it's just to start by reflecting on, is that who I am, but I haven't really defined it? And maybe you need to give more validation to, this is a very viable option for those of us in ministry. When I left being a univocational pastor, I was introduced to the idea of, how do I do this and do more than one thing, and feeling I should just be doing one thing. But then I realized, no, it's being able to do a variety of things so that all those things combined have me involved in the community, involved in the church, involved in people's lives. And it's been just the whole idea, a breath of fresh air. And I think it's an opportunity for you and I to think about this. And if you're struggling with a mindset that says, I have to do one thing, or this separation between sacred and secular, I would really challenge you to open up your mindset and think that, no, God can calls us into his ministry, and it can be a variety of ways that we live that out. Leave me a comment. Talk to me about this. I'd like to get a dialogue going about this multivocational ministry, and grab a hold of this book and read it and see what kind of insights might land for you as you continue to serve and build and equip leaders. And as denominational leaders, trying to find pastors is a huge challenge. I think this is something we need to think more deeply about so that we can help find the harvest hands for the fields are ripe, both for transitional pastors and the need that's great there, but also for the need for pastors in local churches.